Welcome to the Centre for Legal Innovation's Legal Techy Tuesday series. We are very excited to have Stephen Foley and Sally Moten with us today. Stephen is the founder and managing director of TALaw, and Sally is a partner at Lander & Rogers. They will be demonstrating how eBrief streamlines the effective and efficient delivery of briefs to barristers. Again, welcome. Fabulous to have you here. And now over to Sally and Stephen.
Many thanks to the Centre of Legal Innovation for hosting the meeting today. My name is Stephen Foley and I'm Managing Director and Founder of TALaw. Joining me is Sally Moten, a partner from Landers & Rogers. I know some of you, this is the first time you've participated in an online webinar, and I want to congratulate you for doing it as we enter into uncertainty over the next few months on how businesses continue to operate with their clients and business to business. It seems like we need to develop more safer ways to be able to practice, and online meetings using Zoom technology like we are today is one of those ways. Also, the eBrief product that we're showing today means that you can have access 24/7 to all the documents you need online without needing to go anywhere. So I think this is a fitting webinar today as we enter into a few months of uncertainty. Sally will give you some background about the Law Tech Hub and Landers & Rogers, and we'll then look at what eBrief is, what are the benefits of using the technology, and the demonstration of eBrief will follow, and the summary of what Landers & Rogers have experienced using this technology over a 4-month period. I'll hand it over to you, Sally.
Thanks, Stephen. As Stephen said, my name is Sally Moten. I'm a partner in the Workplace Relations team at Lander & Rogers. And for those of you who don't know, Lander & Rogers has a Law Tech Hub set up in Sydney and in Melbourne. And what that Law Tech Hub is a place where legal tech startups and more sophisticated companies like TALaw can be in an incubator where they're working with other similar legal tech companies and develop their technology products together cohesively, working with each other and collaborating. And what that allows them to do as well is get feedback directly from lawyers at Lander & Rogers. So with, for example, eBrief, we would say it's really been a co-development initiative with Stephen, where he came into the Law Tech Hub approximately 12 months ago with quite a basic product. And together over the last 12 months, we've been able to collaborate and trial the product and give Stephen feedback to get it to the far more sophisticated product that it is today. And we've been really pleased and really happy with our use of eBrief, and we are using it in our live matters at the moment. So we'll go into, I think, some of the benefits of eBrief and the efficiencies, mobility later, but I might hand back now to Stephen just to talk you through what eBrief actually does.
Thanks, Sally. So the early incarnation of eBrief was really just as a delivery mechanism to help solicitors deliver documents more easily to barristers. Barristers were receiving electronic documents in all sorts of ways. Some were just by email, some was by Dropbox, OneDrive, and sometimes on a USB stick. But there were so many multiple ways of documents being delivered, and it was pretty unwieldy and very unsafe. So we developed if you like, a Dropbox for lawyers, for barristers, where the documents would all be in one place and they would then have a consistency in being able to receive that. Then as we continued to expand the product and our work with the Legal Tech Hub and with the Landers & Rogers in particular, we went very deep into what are the issues facing solicitors. And so we came out with a later revision, which we're going to show you today, which helps not only to deliver documents, but also to create those documents online so that court bundles can be created simply by automatically numbering documents rather than having to manually put the numbers in, and also to be able to automatically change the ordering of them. So we'll show you a bit more about that. But in essence, it's a delivery mechanism to move documents from solicitors to barristers very easily, so you're all sharing the same place in a 24/7 in a cloud-based document storage which is housed in Australia. and it's also now in this later incarnation helping you to as a work product in creating briefs and also to annotation. So some of the benefits of having a eBrief technology is it allows you to quickly and easily search for anything in the sea of information that you might have, collaborate with counsel, with expert witnesses, all using the same resource, and supply a secure platform delivery of documents with one true source. Sally, I might hand this back to you now to talk about how you've gone paper light.
Thanks, Stephen. I'm sure, like many of the other firms that people are representing today that are online, Landry & Rogers has a commitment to sustainability goals, and its Paperlight initiative is a key part of that. Our Paperlight program is really designed to ensure that we provide efficient, cost-effective, but also environmentally conscious legal services. And how eBrief helps us to achieve that goal is because it reduces the impact on the environment by not requiring paper briefs to be prepared or reducing the number of paper briefs that we're having to prepare. So not only are you saving on the paper, and we'll have a look at that later in terms of the savings on paper that we've seen, but you're also saving on those other efforts that you have to go to when you're producing a paper brief, such as the printing, the electricity with the printers, the physical files, the storage of those files, the couriering or the delivery of those files. So eBrief is a way that could, in theory, remove all of those steps, which in turn has a positive environmental impact. But it also helps with efficiency. And later on, we'll have a look at the time savings that we've been able to achieve in our pilot using eBrief. But there is a significant, about a 10 times time saving that we're seeing in preparing an eBrief online versus a paper brief. One of the features that I really liked personally is how much it enables collaboration. So when you prepare a paper brief, often it's so extensive that you can only make limited copies. You might make a copy for a barrister, you might make one copy for the client. With this platform, you can actually share the link to any number of people. So what we do is not only do we share the brief with the barrister, obviously that's a critical step, but you can add any number of multiple people in the client. So that means that you're opening up access to many people within your client. So it might be the business as well as the lawyers, as well as an HR manager, not just the in-house lawyer. And I really like that feature. There are security benefits because no longer are you required to transport hard copy documents that can fall off trolleys or can get left on the bus. You're able to very easily share a link, so it doesn't require that physical transportation of files. And the mobility, the ease with which you can access a brief online is an incredible advantage. So if anyone's like me, I have a day where I work from home every week, and I don't need to anymore take physical files in my briefs home because I can access that information online. So it's really enhancing mobility for lawyers. So I think they're really positive features that are all part of our Paper Light initiative here at Landers that we're enjoying with eBrief. So I might hand back to you, Stephen, I think.
Thanks.
Some of the more efficiencies.
So I'll now take you into a demonstration of the product just so that you can see a little bit more clearly how it works. So you just go to our website. You can go to ebrief.net.au. If you haven't got an account, you can just click Get Started. I've got an account, of course, so I'll just log in here. And I'll log into the system with my username and password. And you'll see that I've got 2 matters here already on my system. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through what you would do if you were just starting out with a new matter. So I just click on here, New Matter, and I click on Techy Tuesday because that's what we're doing today. I'm not going to go into consecutive numbering or sort documents by date. They're part of the advanced features. I just want to show you what the basic product does to begin with, and then I'll move more into the advanced features. So I've created my Techy Tuesday, and of course now I'd like to add some documents. So I go Documents, Add Documents, And I can select the documents from my folder. They're PDF documents that need to be uploaded. So I can just come down here and I can select those documents and go open. You'll see that they've got a date in the front of these documents. We are able to understand different date formats in the file name convention. So here, it'll automatically extract these dates because we recognize that date format. And under our help, you'll see that we recognize many different date formats. So you'll see the dates have automatically been extracted from there. And I'm just going to go and put these into witness statements. But I could choose which folders I want to put them in. I could choose different folders here. Just for the sake of this, I'll just put them all into witness statements and go down the bottom here, upload documents. And all the documents are coming in now. And then you'll see that over here under witness statements now, I've got my 9 documents. Notice how some are saying OCRing, indexing. So what's happening? If the document hasn't been OCR'd, we'll OCR that document automatically for you. So I'll keep refreshing the screen here, and you'll see that the OCR is now being done, now been indexed. And so all our documents are now online. Under setup, under folders, you can change what folders you want. You know, you could have had another folder here called other documents that you might want to put, and you can set this up to be your default. You'll notice that only the folders that are showing that I've actually got documents in will show here. That means you can set up as many folder types as you like. You might not want depositions, so you can delete this. And you can set this as your default. So you could have 50 folders that if you're only using, say, 5 or 6 in a particular matter, then they're the only folders that you'll be seeing. Once you've added documents, you can come over and search for them. So I can search, say, for the word unreasonable here. And this will search across my whole database of all my documents I've got. I've only got 9 there, but you'll see back will come the document, and I can click it on and it'll take me to that document in the system. And you'll see unreasonables there. Once you've loaded all your documents on the system, the next thing you want to do is to be able to share them with Co-Counsel. So I can come over here and I can say, look, I want to share this matter, and I'll share it with Stephen at TALaw.com. And I can share it with full permissions. Now, you may or may not want to share it with full permissions. If you share it with full permissions, you've set up an elaborate folder structure, then it means that anybody could change that. So often we say you might just want to share it as a regular user, which means that the person you're sharing with can download documents, they can view the documents, they can search the documents, they can even annotate the documents, but they can't change the folder structure, which might be important. So I can click share now, and that matter will be shared. That looks like, when a matter is shared, it looks like something like this, that Stephen Foley has shared this matter with you, and so the person you shared it with will get an email like this letting them know that the matter's been shared. Similarly, when you add new documents into the system, then they'll get who you shared the matter with will get an email like this saying new documents have been uploaded. So you're constantly kept informed about what the process is and what's happening. There's also an activity log here that's saying everything that's been done on the system, all the documents, all the matters that are being created, etc. So there's a full audit that's going on behind the scenes. Once you've shared that matter with another user, so I've shared that matter with myself here, I can actually go and download those documents. So there's a download function on the system here. So either I or the barrister you shared with can just go in and say, I want to download that now. And once I click download, they'll get an email. So, when the download's completed, it'll look something like this. Just saying that your matter's being archived, ready to be downloaded. And so they can download all the documents that you've shared with them if they want to onto another system. So that really, in a nutshell, very quickly, is the free version of the product, which is really just delivering documents from A to B to make it really simple, sharing those documents. And, it's a very effective product, and being used by over 25% of the Victorian Bar have got access to this product, and many law firms are using it just simply to share documents like this. However, as Sally was mentioning, we partner with Lander and Rogers in the Tech Hub probably about 12 months ago now, and they've been instrumental in coming back and saying, we love the way we can share documents with barristers, but we've got some issues from our end, and those issues were really about how do we create these document bundles more easily. So let me now take you into those more advanced features. And so I'm going to use this, this matter that Sally's kindly let me share. And the first thing I should do is take you into folders. And you'll see that on my folders here, I've gone in and I've been able to turn on automatic foldering number, starting at 1. So each of these folders I'm going into now, you'll see that that's been turned on for them. Once I turn that functionality on, when you now go back to the documents, you'll see that I get something for nothing already, an auto index at the top here with all the documents, all correctly numbered. If I go in into one of my documents and say, look, it's not quite in the right order here, I simply just move it up like that and the numbering changes automatically for me. So if I add more documents, they come to the bottom and I can just resort the order they want. Similarly, under folders, if I say that's not quite the right order I want for my folders here, I can just move it up like that and they'll change order here. That'll be reflected straight away in the auto index at the top. And so very easily I can put together a bundle. Sometimes you might want to have sorted by date. So in this particular matter here that I've got here, if I go into the setup I had for this matter, you'll see that I've turned on consecutive numbering and sort by documents by date. What happens now when I go into my documents is they're all sorted by date and there's consecutive numbering all the way through. So you've got various ways you can set up your document numbering and the way you show that depending on what the particular matter is. So the next step after doing all this is to say, well, now that's great. I want to create a court book now. So I can go back to my matters and I can click on this create brief, eBrief, and I can now put in the name that I want to call this, and I can choose the folders that I want to have in my automatic numbering. So, in my brief. So I'm just going to leave all the folders on. You can choose a cover page if you want at the front to let the person know what this eBrief is all about. You can include a blank page. You can repaginate, which means that if I've got 960 documents here, they'll all be numbered from 1 to 960. And you can include total pages, which is 1 of 960, 2 of 960, etc. If you do need to print this, you can do tab printing, which means that on the back of every, if you're using double-sided printing, on the back of every odd number of pages, it'll leave a blank page for you. So it's a nicely formatted printing out. So let me hit create now, and you'll see that that's now gone off to generate a brief. So if I go back into my documents now, that'll be forming here very soon. It takes about a couple of minutes, but I've got one here to show you already that I did early today. So if I click on Appeal Book, you'll see that all my documents are there, nicely numbered. I can click on a document, it'll take me to that particular document in the system. I can go back to my index. I've got bookmarks down the left-hand side. So you get all this for nothing, just simply by putting them as automatic documents, putting them in the right order. You've now created your eBrief very easily. And that can be downloaded, so I can download that document here and just download it takes 1 minute, but I actually did this a bit early today to save some time. So I'll let it download and we can open in a second. I can show you what that looks like. But you can open that up in Adobe, or you can open it up in whatever you like. I think I've got Adobe open here actually. Yeah, so there it is. There's that document, 956 pages in Adobe, standalone, that you've got your bookmarks down the left-hand side here. You can jump around, you've got your index at the top, all nicely formatted. So I hope that demonstrates how easy it is to create these. You can see the Techy demo one that I just said before is now indexing. I hope that shows you how easy it is to create these cookbooks online. The last thing I want to show you is the ability to be able to do annotation. So you'll see here I've got some tags I put in for my matter here. So if I go back to my documents and I choose a document to go into, I'll just choose one here. I can now annotate this. If I go down here a little bit and find something I want, I'll just make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it. I can highlight some text here like this, and then I can click annotate, and I can choose one of my particular topics I like. I can put a comment in about why it might be important, and I can make this private. If I make it private, then only I can see it. If I don't make it private, then my whole team can see my annotation. I can put an event date in if it's a particular important date that I want to come back in chronological order at a later date. And so that annotation's been made, and I can continue going through my document, making annotations wherever I want to. You'll see there's some other annotations here already. And I can view the annotations on screen here. I can look at a particular tag. So I just want to look at important, and just those ones will come back. I want to look at all annotations or just mine. And then once you've got that on the system, you can then go back to eBrief and you can run reports, and you can view your annotations by particular tags. So I can go back and look at my tag important, and just those ones will come back. And any of those I can click on at a later date and go back to the system and see what I highlighted. So I think in a nutshell, that really is a very quick rundown on the system, on how you can use it, in being able to use it just as a mechanism from getting documents from yourself to barristers more easily, but more so how you can also use it to be able to create your own electronic bundles, eBriefs, very easily online by using those automatic document functions, and also how those barristers and solicitors can annotate the system, annotate their documents and be able to share those annotations with each other. Sally, at this stage I might hand back to you to talk about your experiences in terms of using, being part of this pilot. So I'll refer back to these notes that we've got here, and I'll hand it back to Sally.
Thanks, Stephen. So Landon Rogers at the end of last year, between about August and December, did a pilot with eBrief. And so each of its litigation practice groups had 2 to 3 representatives that were involved in this pilot group, and that were actively using and engaging with eBrief on its matters. What we found in our comp law team in Melbourne is that there was 10 times saving in terms of time between generating a paper brief versus generating a brief on eBrief. And we found that the saving was from about 2.5 hours to produce a paper brief, as opposed to about 15 minutes to generate the same brief on eBrief. I should say that's not the time to identify the documents that you want in your brief and to compile them. Obviously, that's a far more extensive process, but this is the time from when you've compiled your brief and the documents you want in it that admin or a paralegal or a junior lawyer would spend then physically printing and compiling those documents into folders, versus the time, 15 minutes, in generating that brief electronically on eBrief. So that was the 10 times time saving that we've experienced in our comp law team in Melbourne, which, as you can see, is a significant amount of time that's being saved. We also had a number of other efficiencies in that we've experienced in our pilot, and I think they're demonstrated on the next slide, Stephen. In terms of, we added about 15 during the pilot. We added about 15 different features to eBrief. So this is part of the co-design process of Landry and Rogers giving feedback, experimenting with the product, and then giving feedback. Some of the additional features that were added was the structuring and the bundling of documents that Stephen has just demonstrated, which came out of us wanting to upload appeal books onto eBrief and experience in doing that, and then providing feedback about how that could be made more straightforward. Automatic numbering of documents, so that when you've got documents on there, you can tick the automatic numbering, and then the numbers will go consecutively or not consecutively, depending on what you like. You can customize cover pages. There's usability enhancements. Initially, when we were using eBrief, you'd open up a document, and then the tab that identified that document at the top of your screen all said the same thing. Now, when you open up a document, the name of that particular document is visible at the top of the screen so that you can very easily switch between different documents and identify which documents you have open and find them. We found, in terms of some of the savings so far during our pilot, we've got a stat there that there's about 278,359 sheets of paper that haven't need to be used, and what that would amount to is about a 14-metre high stack, or nearly 5 office floors. So that's a significant saving for the environment, obviously, even in that 4-month window of our pilot. In terms of whether or not all of our barristers are willing to use an electronic brief, our experience to date is mixed. So these savings won't be realised in every matter, but there's certainly barristers that are absolutely open to having an electronic brief, particularly for use in conferences in chambers. They're often asking for a paper brief to follow, particularly for use in court, but you're still, as that uptake increases and the comfort levels increase with barristers, we're confident that those environmental savings will continue to be achieved and continue to be to increase. We also saw quite an exponential increase in the number of uses of this product during our pilot. So as you can see on the graph that's there in the green shading, we sort of went from a small number of users in August 2019 to quite a significant number of users. About 111 matters have been created using eBrief in that time, and a significant increase in the number of documents that have been uploaded. We had one particular matter with our commercial disputes team where they've uploaded about 1,900 documents just in one matter, and eBrief was capable of using that volume, having that volume of documents uploaded. They can then be searched, they can then be assembled. So there's some of the experiences that we've had with the pilot. I'm certainly trying to use it in every one of my matters, whether it's to share a brief with counsel or to share with clients. It's been a really effective tool. And one other feature, I think, which we haven't really touched on that much, is the searching capability. Stephen showed it briefly. I had a matter, an appeal in court the other day, and the full bench asked a question and we had the eBrief open and we were able to pretty quickly search and find particular words that we needed and identify documents where those words appeared, which would not be nearly as easy if you were having to go through a paper brief. So that full search capability and the fact that you can search for particular terms has been really useful. And also we've used that same functionality when we're meeting with clients or meeting in conferences with barristers and we're asked a question. Much easier to identify documents being able to full text search an entire court book or an entire brief versus having to flip through hard copy pages to identify those same issues. So there's some of the positive experiences that we've had with eBrief during the pilot, now moving beyond that. So I might pass back to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Sally. I know there's some questions and we'd love to answer those questions. Just to finish formally this demonstration, if you'd like to try out eBrief, you can go to ebriefready.com.au and just click Get Started. Once you've got an account, you can go under Help and you'll see that you can join our early release features program. If you click on that, you'll see all the features I showed you in that automatic numbering and annotations will be available to you. And we'd love you to try that over the next few months. We'll be releasing this as a pro version in 3 months' time, but up until then, you can use all those features. And obviously, we love your feedback about that. One of the things I guess we pride ourselves on is being very agile. As Sally said, we released a new feature every week. In fact, even last night, we released a new feature today, which I can just quickly show you, just so that you see what we've been doing in the background here. there's a new feature now that if you edit a document and you don't have a date on that document, or you just want to display the month. So, for example, if I go in here and I just say, look, I only want to display the month, I don't want to, and year, not the whole thing, that document can now get updated to just saying 07/2019. That was a request that Landers put in a month or so ago, and we released it last night. So we're very agile in terms of our in terms of what we're doing, and love you all to be on board and to give feedback into the system. This product developed in Victoria, and it's being used now throughout Australia, and we hope to continue to focus on the Australian market as the place where we can get exactly what you want. So I'll hand it back now, and we'll have a look at the questions, I think, and see what we've got there. We can just go through these. I'll go in order. Can we upload documents that are not in PDF format? Not at this stage. No, you can't. They must be in PDF format. However, we are looking at the possibility of being able to let you upload a Word document or an email, and we'll convert it into PDF for you, so you don't have to do that yourself. Can you demonstrate how the date tagging works? Sure. So I've gone in and when I was doing some of my annotations, I put some dates in. So if I go back to date events here and I go view, what's coming back now is those annotations where I put a date in are now being shown on the system. So if I come back and look at this is a date that I put in for this particular document, and you'll see it'll come back in a moment, and it'll have that date 10/2/2020. So it's a way that you can order a lot of evidence, a lot of information that you want, but if there's important dates, you can put them in. Fantastic demo. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Glenn. Can you auto number some folders, documents, and leave others unnumbered? And will this translate in the full eBrief? So if you're going to have auto numbers on the folders, the documents will all be automatically numbered. There's no way of saying some documents will be and some documents won't be. I guess we can look into the use case on that. But at the moment, if they're not an auto number folder, then of course you can put whatever document numbers you want there, or no documents at all. But once it becomes an auto number folder, then there needs to be document numbers on it. If your document does have a date, can you list it as undated or various? Yes, I hope I just showed that. Yeah, so you certainly can do that. Let me just show that again. So I've got my documents here. I've got a document, and there's one I just did a moment ago. There's probably some more down here. Here's one here that doesn't have any date on it at all because there's no date put in. I can just click that on and say, look, I want that to say undated, not no date. I want it to be clear that it's undated. And so that will now show as undated in my order index. When I go down there, that'll be showing undated. When I create my document bundle, it'll be showing undated. The nice thing about this way we've put this together is you can actually put a date in. You can just put a date in whatever you want, and then it'll sort on that date. But then you can say, look, I don't want it to show a date. I just want it to show undated. So, for example, I could put all my undated at the top by putting in the 1st of the 7th, 2019, or I could put them all at the bottom by putting in, the 30th of August 2019, and just saying they're all undated, and they'll show in that order. Or they can show them in the middle like this one. Kathleen doesn't. I'm not sure what doesn't. Oh, yes, the answer to your question. Yeah, that's good. Now, I think there were some other places I could look for under more chat. So let me have a look under here. How can you demonstrate how the date tagging works? How would you go back and review the date? So let me just do one more date tagging for you. So I can open documents off my main panel. I'm just going to close these down now so that we've got some more room open. So let me open this particular document up. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, yes, this is important. And actually, it's got a date on it. And so I can go in here and annotate that, and I can select a tag. I can make up a new tag. So this is, I'm just going to put new tag 1 and create that on the fly if I wanted to create that new tag. But let me put the event date in. So this happened on the 8th of August 2019. So I can go back there and put that date in. Okay. And so now when I run my report, this will come out in that order. So if I go back to eBrief now and I go back to my report, and I say do a report by date event and view that. Then 8th of August 2019 showing there, page 1, and I put in that new tag 1 you saw me put in that, and it also brings back the extract that I had. I hope that answered that question. I'll just check if there's anything else that we've got. Q&A 6. We've got a little bit of time still. If there's any other questions at all that anybody wants to answer, you can take your microphone off mute and you can ask them if you want to.
Stephen, I'll ask a question. Could you convert that date page that you've got there into a chronology? Could you export that information and put it into a chronology that you could print?
Yeah, so at the moment we're only at this present part of the rollout of this technology, we're showing viewing it. We would really love feedback on how you'd like that presented. There's a number of ways we could create a PDF document of this, which would be pretty easy, or we could put it into an Excel spreadsheet so that you could then sort by the dates or whatever you wanted to do. So I guess we're very happy to extend this functionality, but we're just waiting to find out what what users would like and how they'd like to use this information. At the moment, it's all on screen, and you could obviously print that, print that to a PDF document. But we can make a very nice PDF of that. You can also drill down on this, so I can say, look, I'm interested in a date chronology, but only on my tag called impairment, or only on my tag called tag 1. I'm interested in only my annotations, not everybody's annotations. I'm only interested in looking in the folders that have got submissions in them, for example. So I click on there. So you can really drill down on how you want those reports to come back and what the information is. And as Sally said before, the searching is very powerful in this. I can search my annotations, but I can search right across the whole system. So if I've got a search that I want to do zero intolerance, for example, zero tolerance, let me just type that in and do a search on that. That'll search across all my documents and bring back all the references it can find to that. You see there's quite a lot that's found across the system, and then I can just click on one, and because it gives back a little bit of an extract, you can actually get a sense of, well, which one is it that I'm really interested in looking at. I'm interested in looking at this one. I click it on, and you'll see that all the references to zero tolerance there, and all the other ones in this document are shown on the right-hand side, so I can quickly jump through it. So many times barristers still maybe want the hard copy. We're encouraging barristers to get both. Have the hard copy, but have the electronic copy too, so that you can, when you go home in the evening, you might still want to take a folder home with you, but you don't have to take a suitcase home with you, because you know that you've got all the documents still online here that you can do searching across and you can refer to. So is there anything else you would like to say about this?
I think as well, the fact that it's free, so barristers shouldn't feel concerned that if we send a link that they don't have a subscription. So they've been able to just log in and create an account, which is very easy. It's just setting up a username and password like you might do for a Gmail account, for example, and then they're able to get access to the eBrief that we've shared. So that's obviously made sharing this technology very straightforward.
Before I shared a matter with myself over here, and once I've shared the matter, see Techy Tuesdays now with Stephen. So a person called on shared the matter with Stephen. Now Stephen's got Techy Tuesday here, and they can open it up. They've got those documents that we shared with them all online. So it's very easy to share matters. And if sometimes you might, as solicitors, sometimes you might want to copy the matter to yourself and remove some of the documents that you don't think are relevant to the barrister. So you just click copy, you copy it to yourself, and then you can come through to the copy. This is a copy here, and you could remove the documents or the folders that you don't think are relevant to need to be shared.
Stephen, I think you might have a couple of extra quick questions in there. So is there a page limit for the eBrief?
So we've had some pretty big eBriefs now. We've had ones that's 17,500 pages in length, over 2,500 documents. So is there a limit? there might be a limit. Every time we hit a limit, we'll try and extend that, but at the moment we're handling PDF documents of that size. I'm not a great advocate for these large document bundles, except I know that you need them for the courts and things. I much prefer that we're not using those to search across, because they're pretty unwieldy. They're very large documents, even this one, 960 pages. If I open that document up and I search for zero tolerance in here, for example, you know, I'll find the references, no problems with that. But it becomes pretty unwieldy. It's like there's not much granularity. I don't know really which documents those are being found in. So we much prefer to create the document bundles like we've shown today for the courts, etc. But to use the functionality of the search, which gives you much finer granularity on where you're searching, and brings back you know, a much easier way to say, well, it is actually in this decision that I actually am interested in. It's not in the transcripts. It's not in the notice of appeal. But yes, we can create very large document bundles. Let me go back to my question. In terms of the size of the PDF document you can upload, if you're on our early release version, you can load a document of 1 gigabyte in size, PDF one document, 1 gigabyte. If you're just on the standard version, then you can load 200 megabytes. See if there's any other questions.
There's a question about extracting pages from documents similar to the Extract Acrobat Pro.
Yeah. So we can extract when you're in a document, you can extract some text. So if I open a document up here, but we're not trying to compete against Adobe in terms of all its functionality. I can come in and say, look, that's an important piece of text, and I can copy that to my clipboard. But I can't start messing around with, I want to delete pages 5 to 19. When a document gets uploaded, we see that as in its final form unless it gets replaced. So we can't sort of extract whole pages or anything like that at this moment in time. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I don't know, Terry, if you want to come back and say anything before we leave.
Thanks, Stephen and Sally, for an amazing demonstration and for answering all those questions. It was really interesting to see how eBrief has helped lawyers automate tasks, quickly and easily search for information, and made collaboration with counsel achievable on any device. A huge thank you to all of you who have attended today. On that note, we will draw to a close. As you know, the Centre for Legal Innovation is very much focused on these types of webinars, this type of information sharing, collaboration, and experience exchange. We are all about practical solutions. There will be many more webinars coming up in the Legal Techie Tuesday series in 2020, so don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook for announcements. We look forward to welcoming you back to one of our events, and thank you again very much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone.